Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're looking into something pretty specific, but quite fascinating. Why an aquatic plant, Phyllanthus Fluitans, sometimes changes color.
Right. It goes from that kind of reddish-brown look to green. And we've got some great observations from a listener, Ang, to kick things off.
Yeah, Aang got these plants expecting that reddish color, put them in an outdoor pond, and then, well, they turn green.
Green. Which is interesting because, the expectation was set for reddish-brown. So something about that pond environment seems to have triggered the shift.
Okay, right. And Aang mentioned something else, that the young ones, the seedlings, look a lot like common salvinia. Just a visual detail there.
Yeah, that's a good side note for identification. But focusing on the color,
Mm.
the fact they can be reddish-brown suggests the potential is there.
Definitely. And Aang actually has a hypothesis drawing from experience with different plants, Portulaca, I think.
Oh, interesting. What's the connection?
Well, with Portulaca, Aang knows that really intense sun can make the leaves go from green to red. So they're thinking, maybe this is the reverse.
Ah, okay. So the Phyllanthus Fluitans might be losing that red tint because the light in the new pond is actually less intense than wherever they were before.
That's the idea. Less sun, less red, more green shows through.
That lines up really well with plant biology, actually.
Mhm.
Lots of plants produce pigments, like anthocyanins. Those are often responsible for red, purple, blue colors, partly in response to light stress.
Stress. So like too much sun.
Exactly. Highlight can be damaging, so some plants produce these extra pigments almost like a sunscreen. It could be that the reddish-brown color we associate with the Phyllanthus Fluitans is a sign it's getting a lot of light and producing those protective anthocyanins.
Okay, got it. So if Aang's pond provides maybe gentler light conditions.
Then the plant might scale back production of those reddish pigments. It doesn't need as much sunscreen, so to speak. And when those red pigments fade, the green chlorophyll, which is always there doing photosynthesis, becomes much more visible.
Right. The green was there all along, just masked.
Pretty much, yeah.
And Aang isn't just stopping at the hypothesis. They're planning an experiment
Oh, yeah. What's the plan?
to take some of these now green plants and move them to spots with more direct sunlight, see if the red comes back.
That's perfect. A really direct test of the light intensity idea. Simple, controlled. Well, as controlled as an outdoor pond can be, but it's a smart approach.
Yeah, it seems like the most logical next step based on the observations.
It really does. It makes you curious about the conditions the plants were in before Aang got them. What environment produced that initial reddish-brown color?
True, knowing the baseline would be ideal, but the experiment should tell us a lot.
Absolutely. So based on what we have from Aang, the current thinking is that the shift to green is likely due to lower light levels compared to wherever they were grown previously.
The reddish-brown was probably a highlight adaptation?
It seems very plausible. It
Yeah.
just highlights how, responsive these organisms are. They're constantly adjusting to their surroundings.
And while light seems like the big factor here, based on Aang's notes.
Right. We should probably acknowledge, even briefly, that other things could theoretically play a role. Nutrients, water temperature, although light is usually a primary driver for these kinds of pigment changes.
It really puts into perspective how dynamic even seemingly simple plants are, responding to subtle environmental cues like light intensity.
Definitely. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other signals are plants responding to all around us, leading to changes we might not even notice or understand?
A great thought to leave things on. Thanks for diving into this one with me.